That's hilarious.
I started dying when he said that. I was like, oh shoot. He was polite about it. He was like, whenever you see me like in the corner, and I'm just like, he's like, I'm waiting for the bullshit to happen.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta wait.
He was like, on that show you could just see me, and Zoe was like, yeah. He was like, I noticed you was like quiet in the corner. He was like, yeah, because like I was just waiting for the bullshit to happen. He was talking about him. He was talking about Umar, all them people.
Yeah, some people like you just you can't put them on a pedestal, because when you put them on a pedestal, I mean, shit, they're in perfect position to shit on you. Like,
and Umar got that school supposedly is supposed to be coming out in August.
August. Yeah, I heard somebody, I think Tariq Nasheed said that was like a bando or some shit.
It was like coming out in August, supposed to be coming out in August, and he was making fun of me. He was like, I got the school, people.
Oh, shit. Here we go. Hello? This shit was just working before. See, Jesus knew I was going to talk shit about him today. This is why this is happening right now.
No. Jesus.
All right. So, this is what we're going to do. You got your phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm going to give you the other number to call because I got an iPhone. You know, the iPhone got the little thingy, and my thingy ain't working right now. Pause if necessary. So, I'm going to have you call that number, and we'll use the aux cord in order to record and everything like that.
Okay.
All right, cool. So, I'm sending you that number now.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Y'all got it connected to this phone or something?
Yeah, just this thing right here. Yeah, part of the technical difficulties, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't know. I need to figure out how to work this phone thing again. I used to have that shit down pat when, you know, this is why you don't fall off.
Okay. Wait. What Kev had to do? Where you at?
Man, you know these niggas with kids and shit. Yeah, type your number.
iPhone.
Mad disrespectful. So, yeah. I mean, I'm probably just going to edit out the dead noise, but we keeping all of that shit. Just so you know niggas is real. But, yeah, we got a special guest today. We'll get into the topic in a second. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, okay, great. All right, so, welcome. You're on the KDD Radio Show. My name is Dwayne.
This is Dowell, the other D of the KDD.
And yes, so I mean we're recording. This is like free ball and organic as shit. But
okay.
Yes, my guest that we have on the line is a mother, a author, a teacher, an all around Renaissance woman. Dare I say badass? Am I missing anything?
I mean, that pretty much describes me.
All right, so yes, Ajaya Divine, say hello to the people.
Peace, what's up?
So, this topic that we're going to talk about is parenting while woke. It's a little series that we're doing. We get a bunch of different parents and kind of just basically talk about how to not repeat the cycles that we went through, the generational curses and everything like that. So,
right.
Yeah, so just real quick, I guess kind of give us like a brief introduction about who you are and what you're about.
Okay, so Ajaya Divine, I'm just all about helping us heal. I'm really into community as a means of healing, and I don't mean just like the abstract version of community, but the actual hard people working together, building together community. I pretty much ran through all the conscious circles, just out here trying to find the best me and keep progressing spiritually.
So when you say the conscious circles, like, would you say that it's kind of like going from like one church to the next?
Very much.
Okay.
I mean, that's exactly what it is. A lot of it ends up being dogmatic, the same way that church is. The people, the information can be good, but the people running it, they'll start running it like a church. Like, this is good, this is bad, you got to do this, you got to follow these rules, and it just becomes another version of church.
Indeed, which most can agree is a cult. Or maybe they won't agree, but they won't admit it. But we know what it is.
Something like a cult.
So,
it's a cult.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think where we should start. So, again, with parenting, you have a son.
Yes.
Remy, if I'm not mistaken.
What'd you say?
Remy is the name, if I'm not mistaken.
And you have to say the name.
Rami. Yeah.
Oh,
Rami.
Oh, I must have been thinking about alcohol. I'm sorry, but yeah, Rami. Yeah. So, as far as like your parenting style with him, like what basically do you do that you refuse to do from like your upbringing?
One thing just before you start, you only have just one son?
Yes, just one. He's 4.
And he's 4. I was just about to ask that. And he's 4. Okay. All right.
Well, he's different. He's a lot different from me. I mean, being a boy, he's very, 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 very active. Like, he's not been to school or daycare. Being a school counselor in the past, I know, they try to diagnose him ADD, ADHD, oppositional defiant. He's my wild child. And I think what I mostly do different is just allowing him to just be him and experience. I mean, they're still new to this whole human experience. So just like experiencing emotion, experiencing life, and being able to help him, I guess, just learn as he goes, rather than trying to dictate to him what being a child is or what his place is. Just allowing him to explore and figure it out on his own and more act like a guide along the way.
Right.
Is my basic philosophy.
Yeah. So, would you say that, I guess, like with your upbringing, it was kind of like the opposite, or?
My upbringing was more. I still had a lot of freedom, but it was very well understood what was expected of me and what was acceptable and what my kind of path was. So as long as I stayed within those guidelines, I had free range. I had that freedom. But just the children are, children are seen, not heard. Not really allowed to show too much emotion. Like, you can't be angry, you can't be frustrated, you can't, you gotta hold all that in and just do what you're told to get along type.
Right.
I think that's more of the biggest difference.
Yeah, what you said earlier, that I pretty much agree with that. Like when they're that age, you kind of just have, because they pretty much show you their intentions and like the type of child that they're, I guess, going to be, or the type of child that they are. You really don't have to do too much. You kind of just like let them be, and they'll show you just the way how they play and the way how they eat, and when certain time of the day come around, their habits and things that they do and they don't do. And you just pretty much, like you said, just be like a guideline to them and just be like yes and no. Obviously, you stop them from doing the obvious things like touching a hot stove and leaving the fridge open and putting stuff down on shelves and stuff like that. But just letting them play, run around the house and interact with other kids and people, they'll pretty much show you. the type of kid that they are, then you just be like, okay, and you just build off of there. At least that's what I took from it, from what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it is. Is like right now he's discovering his strengths, I'm discovering his strengths, I'm discovering mine as a parent, my weaknesses as a parent, and it's like a balancing act, really. You know, like we're partners.
Yeah.
On this journey now, you know what I mean? We're partners. He's gonna teach me some things. I'm gonna teach him some things. We're gonna have some fun. You know what I mean? Like that's more how I look at parenting. And when you just let them be them, it's hard when they're young because they don't know a lot. Like they don't know what's acceptable. They don't know the consequences of things. But if you can just let them kind of be free and give them that space and keep them safe, of course, as they grow older and they start to understand, all of that other little stuff from when they were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 falls away because they understand more. But it's like a lot of parents expect them to understand so much when they're so little, or just to listen and follow just because they're children. And my son showed me very early that was not the type of child that he was. Like, I was a child, I would do whatever to get along. Like, don't yell at me, don't say nothing to me, what you want me to do, go over here, or I'm over here, just, I don't want no trouble. But my son's like, bring all the smoke. If I don't want it, like, that's just how, I mean, it is how he is. He's like, I'll take all of it. We can go toe to toe. And we both gonna be tired and mad and angry at the end of it. And I just I don't want that. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't want that type of relationship. So you just gotta rework how it is. And especially like in black community, black people, we raised our children a lot like slaves. Like, the generations, like, you do what you're told, you don't question, like, you don't show emotion. If I tell you to do something and you don't want to do it and you're angry about it, you're not allowed to show that you're angry about it. You know what I mean? You're not allowed to voice your opinion. You're not allowed to do all of these things. And it's like they're just young versions of people. Like, they're still people. They still have opinions. They still have emotions. And as children, some of the emotions are brand new. Like, this is the first time they've been frustrated. They don't even have the word to say that they're frustrated.
Right.
You know, but then an adult can get mad and punch a hole in the wall and do all this crazy stuff. And, a couple of days later, it's like, oh, he was just mad. Like, he done calmed down now. But your child who doesn't even have the words or the knowledge or the experience to express it, they're expected to just bottle it up and figure it out. And I was like, that's so backwards.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. So, let me think. So, what would you say, because I did a little bit of research, looked at your videos, your media and stuff like that. You were very opinionated on schooling and, like, homeschooling and stuff like that. So, can you kind of tap into that a little bit?
Okay. I do. I have a master's in education. I've been a school counselor. I did substituting. I've done coaching. I've been in preschools to high schools, and it's just more of the same. It's more of training and making your child be a certain mode, and it's not about really finding and discovering their gifts and their strengths. And then if you add in just teachers, how many teachers don't even really like kids, or how many teachers are judgmental of children and make fun of children in the cafe or in the teacher's lounge, and just like they're shaping your child every day. Your child sees them every day, and they might have an underlying attitude, and just the curriculum itself is racist and boring and outdated, and there's just so much wrong, and they spend so much time there. What your child learns in a day at school, you could probably teach them, up until probably at least 5th grade for most people. You could probably teach them in an hour or two a day for what they go to school and have to suffer through for 7 hours. Like, legit.
Yeah, we got Google now. That pretty much sums everything up right there.
And, like, half of these teachers aren't even, like, they're just getting a book and they're following the lesson plan. You know what I mean? They're literally just saying, okay, we're going to do these 2 lessons, you know, this week, and we're going to do this the next week. And, like, they don't have to have a grasp of the actual information they're teaching. Literally, it's all there. They're just reading a script.
Yeah.
I mean, not all teachers, but the bottom tier. Like, they're just reading a script. And you can do that at home.
You sure can. You sure can.
Like, you can do that at home. And spend the rest of the time actually, not even the rest of the time, but then spend time actually developing your child as far as what they're interested in, see what their strengths are. Interacting, like, you know, taking them to co-ops or just outings with other homeschoolers or anything, literally anything. Just, they might like drawing and art. They can sit and draw and paint and do whatever for 2 or 3 hours. And that's going to get their mind going and open them up just as much as, well, actually way more than sitting down and reading a book looking for fill in the blank facts. Like, and nobody's retaining anything anyway. Like, that's why they spend a quarter of the year reviewing what they learned the last year. Like, it's just such it's such a waste of precious time. And so many kids don't like school besides going to see their friends. Like, that's all they want to do. They just want to go hang out with their friends. Most kids don't like school. I didn't like school, and I was dang near a straight A student.
The lesson plans is
and
too
I didn't
boring.
like school.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially like now, cause I've, you know, we do like some community stuff. These people that this family that's in the neighborhood, and they do like community stuff, like, you know, the high schools and middle schools and stuff like that. And I'm seeing cameras and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, yo, this is basically like a prison right now. Like, the way everything's set up. You have all these, you know, security guards and stuff like that. It's just an indoctrination station. And, like, go ahead. I know you got something to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it is. Like, no, I mean, I think I just put a post up, I think, on my Instagram about the comparisons between school and prison and, like, how much it is so much similar with the scheduling, the when to eat, not to eat, stay in line, walk, like, just, it's almost a mirror. And I've had kids say that when I was doing my internship, we literally were in a fenced-in, like, it was an open campus high school, but then there was a fence around it. Like, at different times, you would see kids running to jump the fence. Like, like sprinting, like, oh, we got a runner. Like, just literally trying to break out. And, like, one kid was like, why do I have to be here if I don't want to be here? Like, is this prison or is this school? And I was like, hey, man, you got a good point. All I could do is repeat you to the rules, like, you can't leave. You know what I mean? You got to stay on campus. But it is. Like, it's a prison to train them to go out, to continue society, to get a job, to keep the system going.
Yeah, thinking about that movie, Life, when he was like, we got a runner. Like,
That's exactly what they used to want.
This is the gun line. Any child crosses gun line, you take him out.
He probably had it in, like, North Korea or some shit. But yeah, like, it's wild, like, how they do that. And I'm just thinking about it, like, just the way that, you know, boys and girls are set up. Like, I'm not gonna just sit there, like, the way that, I mean, I can only speak as, you know, male or whatever. Like, I'm not going to just sit down and, like, you know, listen to somebody talk about something I don't care about. Like, you know, I'm trying to, like, have fun, do whatever. Like, I just saw this video that went viral. I don't know if you saw it. Like, this kid snatched the wig off this teacher and started, like, dancing around the class.
And it sucks even more if it's, like, 15 black kids and you got one white kid, you can't even relate to that person teaching you. You don't see the same color.
Oh.
That makes it even worse.
And like, I have mixed with my last semester as a school counselor. Like, I found myself like on the kids' side. Like when they just be wilding out, I'd be in my office like laughing, like yes, like yes, you like, cause they're not being fed, and then most of the teachers are white, like they just are, and most of the students at that school were not.
Yeah, you can't.
And so there's just this automatic, like, condescending type of just air about a lot of teachers when they work in a predominantly brown, black school. And they don't even notice it, but the children notice. Like, as a substitute teacher, I had, they put me in a class with the teacher. Like, this is her normal class. Why am I in here with her, y'all? They was like, she just has trouble with this class. It's a trouble class. And so, I mean, they were acting up, cutting the light off while she was talking, like just acting out. And she left the room. And I was like, yo, I'm a substitute teacher. I'm like, why are y'all acting like this? I've had y'all in other classrooms. Y'all don't act like this. And they're like, we don't like her. And we was like, why? Because she always talks down to us like we stupid, and she thinks she's better than everybody, and da-da-da-da-da. And then when she came back, I listened to her from a seventh grader point of view, and I was like, I can see why they feel that way. Like, I'm picking up on it. Mm-hmm. And one girl at the end of the class, she took shredded paper. She had just been tearing paper up, and she was like, make sure you pick it up, make sure you pick it up, all class. She was like, make sure you pick all that paper up. So she picked it all up, and the bell rang, and she walked up to the teacher, and she threw it all in the air over her head and said, let it rain, and then walked out the classroom.
Yo.
That was a white teacher they had?
Yes.
No.
Yes. And she was like fresh out of, probably like from some small town. I mean, Indianapolis is not a huge city, but yeah, from some small town outside of Indianapolis, like 24, 25, probably never been around this many black people at one time type of like, and she talked to them like they were like little bitty children at that. And it's like, these little kids have probably been through more by the age of 12 than you've ever seen in your life. And you talking to them like they some like 8-year-olds. Like, I need you to make sure that you, like, just talk. Like, just talk to them. Like, you sound stupid and you're annoying me. Like, just talk. Like, it's bad. The disconnect is so real. Like,
it really is. Like, even like I've seen like I used to work in a customer service, and I've had situations where, like, you know, someone coming with their kid or whatever, and I remember my manager, and Daryl knows this person, but you know, whatever. She was like, "Oh, like it's a cute little baby," and then like the kid would talk to him like, "Oh, it's the old little lady." Like, they were just like, you know, with that same energy. And it's like, I never talk to kids like that. Like, my godson, like, I talk to him not like he's a grown ass man per se, but like I speak to him like on a regular level. Sometimes
like he's a thinking human being.
Yeah.
Like,
and if
according to his age, yeah.
Yeah, and then like what happened is, like, you know, I'll kind of talk to him like I would talk to like a regular person, and if he doesn't grasp it, I'll like dial it back a little bit until like we can meet at like a common, you know, common ground. But like just talking to somebody like they're like,
these young kids is old souls, man. You can't talk to them like I'm convinced these young kids is old souls, man. You really
are.
Yeah, you got to talk to them as if they on your level. I mean, they're not going to do the things that we do because we're obviously old and we're adults and they're children, but they're old souls. You definitely can't talk down to them. No,
they can't, and that's what I say. And it's not even your words; it's your energy. It's they feel. You know what I mean? Like, so even if they feel it. You know, it's like they might not be able to verbalize it, but they feel how you coming at them. They feel like you ain't coming at them on an equal playing field, like you are talking down to them. And my son taught me that, like, real quick. Like, oh, he is he's on his game. Like, like, no, don't want to do that, mommy. I feel you.
They could pick up anything too. You really don't have to say anything to them. They can just like watch you.
Yeah, kids don't listen; they watch,
and they can just pick up anything.
And they rather actually learn that way than being told what to do. A lot of them, like they don't want you to dictate how they do it. They rather learn through experience. They rather. I think it's like being. I feel like it's like being a adult mind trapped in a kid body. Like you know you should be able to do this, and you're figuring it out, and it's already frustrating because you can't do it. And you know you should be able to do it, but you just got to take the time to figure it out. And then somebody else coming along and treating you like you a little bitty infant that can't figure nothing out, it's just like more frustrating.
Yeah,
like
it's the same thing with old people.
Just give them the freedom; they gonna figure it out. You good? Like you good. And they're they've come to tear down this current system, so they're not going to go along to get along. Facts. Like their spiritual mission is to bring all of this down. So if you want to keep forcing them into school and forcing them into these just old archaic ways of teaching and educating, they're going to just rebel. And parenting, like they're going to rebel. Like these kids don't give no fucks. Like none. Like none.
Yeah,
like zero.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't, and it's like
it's amazing. Like
yeah,
it's good though. I like that because it's like you try to tell them something and they just be like, nah, man. They was like I said, I was trying not to curse like I said the last episode, but they just be like, nah, fuck that, man. I'm not. Whatever you saying,
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, but whatever you saying, that'll make sense to me. So I ain't riding with you. I'm gonna do what makes sense to me. Yeah. I like that too, though, because that shows independence, and you're not willing to follow what people tell you.
Exactly, and I'm like, that's a good quality to have. So what does that mean? That means as the adults, as the leaders, you need to step your game up and actually come to them with something they find valuable, and they wouldn't be like that. But we keep trying to force stuff down their throat that's not valuable to them, and then being like, why are they acting like this? Why are they wilding out? Because they don't value what you're trying to teach them, so teach them something of value.
Facts. Man, I remember I was in third grade. It was either third grade or second grade. And I remember getting into an argument with my teacher over, they tried to tell me that I think, they either said that Egypt was in Asia or Europe. And I'm just like, how? And we was going back and forth. I was making a big ass scene too. I'm like, how? It's right there.
That'd have been cool if the teacher name was Sway. That'd have been cool.
I was like, there's no way. Like, it's right there. Like, well, it's kind of in the middle. I'm like, no, it's right there. Like, fuck out of here. But
if that's not Africa, I don't know what it is.
Exactly. But it's just funny. Like, even like, you know, how hindsight is 2020. You think about all the times where, you know, you had curious moments and you would say certain stuff, and a lot of times parents would just kind of stifle your creativity. They would stifle your curious spirit. You know, like, nah, don't worry about it. And, you know, it's just that's definitely something that needs to die with, you know. Well, I don't want to say it like that, but, you know, this is something that we just need not to carry on.
Yeah, that old way of thinking got to go.
Yeah, that's what my son, he'll say something, I mean, that is clearly wrong. He's like, nah, mommy, that's a cat. And I'm like, in my head, that's not a cat. But if it's a cat in your world, then you can call it a cat, baby. And I just leave it at that. Like, I'm not, it's a cat.
Trans cat.
I'm like, cat. You're not hurting nothing. You know what I mean? Like, right. You're literally, I'm not about to argue with a 4-year-old about what is or isn't. You know what I mean? But, like, just allowing them to, like he calls his little semi-truck, he'll be like, Mommy, it's a train. I'm like, all right, baby, it's a train. You know, like, just let them just make stuff up. You know what I mean? And explore and push through. And a lot of parents are telling kids stuff that's wrong, too, though. Like, and the kids just take it in because it's your parent. And I'll be, like, walking around in the grocery store and different stuff, and I'm like, no, that is definitely wrong. Like, you have definitely just told your child something that is very literally wrong. And they're just learning to accept it just because of the source it comes from. Like, respect authority, which I've always had a problem with.
Yeah, I think that's also been my issue as well. I'm not going to say issue, it's just, like, you got to earn it. You got to earn my respect as an authoritative figure. But I actually have a crazy theory I want to run by you.
Okay.
So you know,
yeah, brace yourself. Yeah,
it's not even that crazy.
These are my
though.
favorite kind. That's the greatest introduction to anything. I'm like, you got my ear.
Okay, so I think this can, definitely work in the workplace, but, just in school, I think that at least the classroom should be, like, segregated between, like, boys and girls because they learn differently. I mean, people learn differently anyway, but I think, like, boys and girls should be, like, separated, and then, I guess maybe, like, recess or something like that, at least, like, boys and girls are going through puberty and shit, like, because I just know a lot of times, like, times I would act out. Matter of fact, I was always well behaved if it was a class with no girls in it, as in like attractive girls to me at that age. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think that we need to be.
I agree to a certain extent because I actually subbed in a school that their freshmen and sophomore were completely separate. Girls and boys, maybe except for electives like art, music, whatever. But all their major subject classes were separated. And while there were still problems, like behavioral type issues in the classroom, like nothing escalated in the ways that they would when the classes were mixed. So, like, some of the boys still, like, got into it. They like, we beating our chest type of arguments or whatever. But, like, nobody was really trying to impress anybody. So, like, nothing ever just really, like, it usually just would, they would kind of get loud, and then they would kind of settle back down. And I was like, but if there were girls in the classroom and somebody felt embarrassed, then that's when they go to, like, the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same thing with the girls. They were still catty or whatever. But one thing I've noticed with the girls is a lot of times they let the boys hype them up to fight or to go to the next level. Or, you know what I mean? They just kind of feed that. And then the puberty thing, of course, just I'm getting muscles and this and I'm, all this other stuff is going on for, both the girls and the boys. So just they are interested in each other on that kind of level, or at least it's a distraction. I would say it is definitely a distraction.
Definitely is.
So I do see that. And I think it could be definitely something that's more earned too. Because at the same time, like, you do want to be in class with girls and boys. You know what I mean? You do want to. They look forward to that mingle time. Like the hallway time was like the best time for them because that was the only time they really got to mix. And so I think it could be earned. And as far as girls and boys learning differently, boys are way, way, way more active. Like boys, like really, 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 really need that physical, especially younger, that like physical part of getting up and being able to move and be active, especially young black boys. Like my son can run around in a circle while you're giving directions, and you'll be like, he is not listening. And as soon as you say go, he can do exactly what you said. But the moment you try to sit him down and look him in the eye and tell him directions, it shuts down. But if you let him move and stuff while he's listening to you, he catches it all. But if you try to force him to like sit still and do, it's not it's just he's not gonna get it. Like he's not even gonna allow you to continue to explain it. Like he's just gonna shut down. So like I agree. I mean like I do. To a certain extent, I don't know how it would really look and work all the way, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was always thinking about that, and then also, now this, I've had mixed feelings about this theory, but as far as like uniforms, just because, I mean, I'm on one end, I'm not for it because like that's more like prison, but on the other end, it's like we're focused on the right things. If everyone has the same uniform, I don't got to worry about, oh, snap, like you're wearing Payless shoes because like that would get you beat up. You get laughed at the school wearing Payless shoes.
It's true.
So, and then nowadays, like these kids be wearing shit I can't afford to wear. Like,
yeah, I mean, their parents got it for them, so.
It's bad. I don't know. I'm very torn with that, only because that's a cultural thing. You know what I mean? Like, if we just slightly tweaked the values, it wouldn't be an issue as big as it is now. So it's like, because I actually went for high school. I ended up going to a private school on scholarship, and we were the only private school in the city, and I don't know how many other private schools that we didn't wear uniforms. And it wasn't an issue. Like, what you wore, who wore what, like, I mean, they were mostly rich kids, so they all had nice stuff. So it was, maybe that was why it wasn't really an issue. But, like, I definitely think it, to a certain extent, it stifles creativity. And for somebody who's always liked to dress creatively, that would have been, like, the worst thing in the world to me, to, like, have to put on a uniform and literally look like everybody else. And I think that probably would have pushed me a little bit over the edge. So I get it. I don't know about that one. That's just personally me.
Yeah, like every day, matter of fact, not every day, like every hour I think about it, like I change my opinion because it's just like there's this and then there's that, and you know, but it's just another theory I had. So as far as the upbringing of children, like, and how in the black community, because this is a very black podcast, I just want to throw that out there in case you haven't caught on. You know, you were right about, like, us being basically, like, raised like slaves, like, even down to, like, the whole corporal punishment thing. Like,
yeah.
What are your views on that?
I think it's horrible. Honestly, I think it is something that just needs to go away. And I think as a parent, you have to challenge yourself to be more creative and to figure out how else to get a message across to your child. Because here's the thing: how can you teach your child that it's not okay to hit people and attack people, but hit them and attack them? Like, or how can you teach them that it's not like that police brutality is not okay, but parent brutality is perfectly normal? Like, and especially because people are like whooping their kids like 2, 3, 4 years old, like they gonna literally like beat the rebellion out of them. Like, you gonna fear me. And it's like, and why do you, I don't want my child to fear me. I never want my child to fear me. Respect me, yes. But fear, because fear and love can't exist in the same place. Like, if I'm fearing you right now, I'm not seeing the love. You know what I mean? Like, right. I'm seeing fear. I'm afraid I'm going to be hurt. You know what I mean? Like, so and believe me, my son has pushed me on this, like, because sometimes I tell him, I'm like, I swear, I just want to punch you in the face sometimes. But I love you, so I'm not going to do that. But, like, I need you to cooperate. I need you to listen.
A little headbutt once in a while won't hurt.
But no, but like I have a theory that I got a lot of theories. Let me just say that now. That like I think that corporal punishment is low key the gateway drug to domestic abusive relationships, because
exactly because
you're getting struck by somebody that says they love you, they do this, they do that, and then like that's that same energy. So you get accustomed to people that love you laying hands on you as an act of love.
You associate abuse with love. That is what you do when your parents. With corporal punishment, you are associating someone who's supposed to love you with everything and take care of you and not want to harm you, but they do. So that becomes essential to your idea of love, and you will accept that. Like, it's basic. Like, that's just basic conditioning. Like, there's no way around. I think I've actually said that exact same thing to people, especially after my first interaction or brush with domestic violence. Like, it made me understand how the mental behind it and how it works. And it's like, well, yeah, you know, my mom with me or my dad with me, and they love me. So why wouldn't I accept that somebody else could love me but put their hands on me? Like,
yep.
Yeah, like, yeah. Like, that's the psychology behind it. Like, you can't deny it at all.
Yeah, like, I know me, like, you can't surprise me. I will slap the shit out of you. Like, do not surprise me. Like, I remember we was joking around. I was probably in I know it was in high school, and you know, I've been slapped out of my sleep before. You know,
what?
It is what. Look, sometimes, you know, it is what it is. You know, my father worked nights, and so sometimes I get slapped out of my sleep if, you know, shit wasn't, you know, copacetic. So I remember.
By your parents?
Yeah.
Ain't
nobody. Look.
Okay.
See, you about to start some shit. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember like someone was joking around, like trying to slapbox me. He got too close and he got caught. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, look, I got PTSD. I don't know what to tell you. Like, don't surprise me. Don't get too close. Like, it is what it is. And I really think also what it does is it teaches children that violence is a way to like get your point across. If words don't work, you know, and depending on how quick you respond to, you know, with violence, will kind of like set them up for that, you know, going forward. In my opinion,
my son, we went through. My thing was, I always try to create an environment to where there was really nothing that he could break or he could do that I would be like, you know, valuable stuff, like around when he's like 1.5, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, he's gonna touch everything. That's what they're supposed to do. Well, his father in the Xbox, like, don't touch the X. That was his thing. And so he started smacking his hand. You know what I mean? Like, just when he touch it, just tap his hand. And see, what he didn't know, and I didn't know this, you know what I mean? Like, because he used to keep him during the day and work at night. I used to work a day and be with him at night. So I didn't really know that this was how he, you know, what was going on. Mm-hmm. But what I noticed is when I would do stuff, he would start slapping my hand. Like, I'm like, dude, why, why are you touching my, like, why? He be telling me, like, not to touch stuff, like his toys. He'd be like, and I was like, what? Why are you? And then I seen, like, one day I put it together, and I was like, you've been smacking his hand when he touched it. He was like, yeah, I got him to stop touching that. So yeah, now he's touching me. Instead of your damn Xbox, he's slapping my hand whenever I'm trying to pick up toys or do something. Like, now he's slapping me. And I was like, okay. Like, it was just that quick that I realized there's no way you can use physical punishment and not teach them to use it. Even if they don't use it on you, they're gonna use it on somebody or something. Like, because they're gonna be like, oh, I don't want them to do that. Okay, what are my options? Okay, what have my parents taught me my options are? I can ask, or then I can hit. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, I told you not to do it. You still ain't paying attention. Now I can hit you. Mm-hmm. And like, as a child, that's all they got. They got black and white. Like, they just A to B. Like, that's it. And usually, so there's no way. That's what you teach them. Like,
usually, whoopings is like the quick and easiest thing to do. A parent finds is much harder to like actually sit down and talk to your child, or letting them do what they want to do because you feel like you have no control over them. So I guess they just figured like just busting your kid's ass, that's just much easier because, like you were saying earlier, making them fair. Yeah. And making them
time-consuming. You got to have patience.
Yeah, people ain't got time for that. They work in 8, 12-hour shift. They just want to come home and sleep.
I don't even have patience.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen, like, I've seen it. I've lived it. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, I don't have the time to sit and keep talking to you every 5, 6, minutes. You know what I mean? We're not even talking hours. Like, I just said that. Like, like, you didn't hear me, or you don't, I'm a joke. You know what I mean? And I think another thing is really, with just the way society is put together, a lot of parents are just really frustrated with life, and their children just end up being who they take it out on.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, because your boss can do all kind of stuff. You ain't gonna whoop his ass.
Nope.
Your coworker get on your nerves every damn day doing stuff. You ain't gonna whoop their ass.
It depends.
Your child, who's a child, does something that is that a child should do, and they get an ass whooping. And they're a child. They're literally 8 years old.
Yeah.
And you just let this 35-year-old just get on your nerves and talk crazy and do all this stuff all day. But your child act like a child, they get their ass beat. Like, it's crazy.
And if you think about it, you're basically beating a reflection of you. So really, that's subconsciously saying that you're mad at yourself, that you're failing at life.
Enlightenment.
Very much so. Like, very much so. Like, that's self-hate all day.
Yeah, it's a shame, though.
Like,
that's really what it comes down to, though. People just ain't got the time. They just frustrated, and they just take it out on their kids. And we just got to find another way, because that way it's not a good look.
Bad. and it's all by design.
Teaching.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just said you're not teaching them anything. Like, you're not teaching them a skill. They're probably not even learning whatever it is that you whooped them for. They just worry about not getting whooped again. So, like, for me, it made me sneakier. Because we didn't actually talk about why what I did was wrong, or why Actually, I didn't really get that many whoopings past, like, 6, because I was like, listen, I'm going to be way sneakier. Like, from then on. Like, but, that's what it was, because it wasn't like there was never an understanding of why what I did was wrong, or what else I could have done instead, or what my other options were. It was just like, you don't do that. Like, that's one thing I learned as I took a couple of play therapy classes in college, and that's one of the techniques they learn. Like, if you don't want the child to do something, then give them 2 other options. Most children are going to pick one of those 2 options. Like, if they're doing that and you don't want them to do that, be like, hey, why don't you do this or this? And most kids will pick one of the 2 options you give them. Like, our professor, he was like, his daughter, he was like, she had a cookie thing. And she like come with like 15 cookies and be like, I'm going to eat all these cookies. And he'd like, you can have 1 cookie or 2 cookies. She'd be like, I'll take 2. And like put all the rest of the cookies down. Rather than like beating her and being like, that's way too many cookies and da-da-da-da-da. He'd be like, you can have 1 cookie or you can have 2 cookies. And she'd be like, 2. Like she won. You know what I mean? Like, bam. And there we go. Like, but you have to give them options other than telling them just no. Okay, so I can't have that, but what can I have? Or I can't do that, but what can I do? And give them some options that are kind of similar and say, here you go, pick one of these 2. And most children will pick something else if you give them the options instead of just telling them what they can't do all the time. Tell them what they can do.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like, that's crazy. It's actually just triggers something. Like, a lot of kids just grow up being told by their parents what they can't do, who they can't be, or anything. Like, that's mad limiting.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And what are my options then? You know what I mean? Like, okay, so I can't do that, or you don't want me to do that. So what are some other options? Like, you got to channel that into something else. Like, you can't just tell a child no, 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 because most kids are going to become fixated on what you told them they can't do, because you never put their attention towards anything else.
Yeah, and then, sometimes, you could be everything that you want to be. I'm like, well, which one is it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could be anything you want to be except disobedient. Like, nah.
I'm just following the script. That's all, just following the script.
I think, honestly, though, a lot of parents, they don't know what the hell they're doing, but, like, they don't. They don't, but, like, it's like they don't know how bad of a parent they are. Like, they really think they're doing the best that they can, but it's just they're not good at it.
One thing, I'll let you finish, but one thing I wanted to ask you when you're done, I'll ask you the question, though, but I'll let you go ahead and finish.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, literally, and it sucks. I hate saying it, but literally 85% of black culture is slave culture. You learn how to be a parent from a slave master.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, because the whole culture, anything that we knew before was erased. Everything was erased. So everything that we built on was from the perspective of a slave culture. From parenting to eating to everything was from the perspective of a slave culture. So if we're not talking about literally throwing everything out and rebuilding, then we're just continuing the culture. You know what I mean? Like, you can dress it up as much as you want to, but that's what we're doing.
Yeah, my question, I guess, was like having kids, because you said you got one son. You ain't got to tell your age, it's all right. But having kids, would you prefer having it early, like early 20s, or later in life when you're more experienced life-wise, like mid to late 30s or so? Because me, I believe, theory, you were saying theories and stuff. I don't know if it's like a theory or whatever, but just my thought is that I think nobody really should have kids until they hit 30. I think you should just like pretty much live life, go through your ups and downs or whatever, go through what you got to go through, and then nobody really should really be having kids until they get past 30. I figure that's like a good age to become a parent. Anybody that kind of like have kids, like definitely in their late teenagers and stuff like that, early 20s, I already feel like is, of course, you know, life situations happen and people don't believe in abortions and things like that. So I understand.
Or pulling out.
Yeah, so I understand why kids are born and we have such young parents. But I always would like to see parents being in their early 30s, or if you're like late 20s, 28, 29 or so. So what do you think about that? About what age you believe is right to have a kid, basically?
I would say ideally, I do think late 20s, 30s is a great age, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything either, because I know some 23-year-olds right now that are way better parents as far as just being open and trying to raise their children different than some parents that waited till they were 35 to have children. You know what I mean? Like, so I think as a general rule, I do think that is a great age for you to, because that's when I had my son at 29, 28, 29, something like that. I don't know. I don't keep track of age very well, because after like 25, I stopped counting.
Smart.
Like, you know, that gives you time to get to know yourself and then get to know yourself again. You know what I mean? Like, because your early 20s is kind of like, oh, I'm free, I'm out, blah, 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 and you think you know yourself, and then you kind of hit the world, and that's usually when a lot of people have children. Like, right in that early to mid 20s time. And then you're like, oh, I'm a whole different person, really. You know what I mean? Like, you come out of that and you're like another whole different person, and you understand responsibility different, and you understand a lot of things differently. So yes, I believe that is a great age. However, I also know that sometimes having the younger parents, at least right now, it might just happen to be with like the thing about, you know, the indigo children and all these different types of spiritual people coming to earth right now that are a little more open and a little more free in how they're going about their parenting. So, yes and no.
Yeah, I heard some people.
That's a good goal. I think that's a good goal age. You know what I mean? I think that if you're doing some life planning, I think you're 28 and up is you probably have a decent foundation in yourself to kind of go forward. Yeah, so I agree to an extent.
I also heard some people, like young parents, they say that like they're happy that they did have it at that age because it made them become a better person. I heard
Yeah, that's true too.
It
made them grow up.
Yeah, I heard young parents say that too. So I try to look at it that way also as well too. But that's just my kind of like way of thinking, I guess. I just feel like late.
And not everybody grows up when they have it. You know what I mean? Like for some, it like saves them, and they like it makes them be responsible. But some don't step up to the plate either. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
So then you have that, and they still have this young mentality about them, and they don't step up to the plate. So it's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, I think having a child exposes you, for the good or for the bad, So I have to talk about this. We talked about, education and all that. But then also we have to talk about, the education / indoctrination that happens in the church, the house of the Lord. So, based upon, maybe your experience or, what you've seen, what would you say is the good and the bad, if there's any on either side, of, raising a child in the church?
I'll start with the good. The church is really one of the last strongholds for any type of community feel in the black community.
True.
As far as just going to fellowship and, what I mean, in a positive, in a positive way, as far as just good energy, people, and usually having good intentions and just wanting to come and, build and just be positive, and fish fries and outings and, kids night and face painting, that. The church is one of those has been the backbone of just trying to keep some semblance of community, in the neighborhood, and helping others and having, open doors. So
right.
Just having that outlet and that support I believe, is great for children, and, a safe environment. So that's what when I was in Dallas for a while, my friend, and she's had just in the last couple of years turned really, really, really Christian, like lay hands Christian. Like, I was like, oh, this is different. But, that's my homie still. But, so she and I had no problem, they're having face paint and they gonna have bounce houses and stuff. We're in. You know what I mean? Like, let's go and have fun and do all, and do all that stuff. But it's that backside of the indoctrination that comes along with that is the negative, that can do a lot of harm. Because, there's just some things about, just even the fact of you telling your child that they were born into sin, that they're naturally just bad.
Yeah.
Like you're planting that seed in your child's head. You're bad. You're bad. You're bad. And only Jesus can stop you from being bad. And you know what I mean? Like that's the foundation. Like,
right.
What if we told our children they were great and they were good? They were essentially good, and they can make great decisions all the time. Like, will we see a better outcome? Probably. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just like one little thing, and then you have to believe in these. You have to believe in this. You know what I mean? You have to believe that Jesus died on the cross, or you're going to go to hell. So now we got fear. So now we're pumping fear in them, because if you don't do what Jesus says do, now you're going to go to hell and you're going to burn forever.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're fearful. So now they're bad and they're scared. Like, what? Like, that's the worst kind of person to have. Somebody who thinks they're a bad person and they're scared. Like, they're full of fear. Like,
yep. I think in a lot of ways Jesus is Santa for adults, but keep going.
That too. And then there's the authority that the church has. Like, he ain't gonna listen to this anyway. So my brother-in-law, like, they grew up really, 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 because there's a lot of them, and they grew up really kind of poor.
Mm-hmm.
And he resents church, because he be like, we be hungry, and my mama be tithing like every week, and we ain't got no food in the house, but you going up here and giving them $20. Like, he's like, I used to be like angry, and I was like, you got a right to be angry. You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
we going home to eat a hot dog, and you just put how much money in the basket? You know what I mean? Like, and it's just so wrong. And a lot of people that go to church are kind of poor. You know what I mean? A lot of people that give the most and the most time and the most everything are the people who don't have it to give, you know? Like, and I think that sets the wrong tone as far as, like, we supposed to be a community and working together and doing all this stuff, but we struggling, but we still got to give y'all money for what? You know, and like, so it just, like, this idea of just doing without and having to give against against your best interest. Like,
yep, we struggling, but it's in Jesus' name. So, like,
man.
But like, I think with also with that, I think, you know, it's a lot of like nuanced stuff also, because it's like, I mean, I have seen churches that, you know, that do good in the community. There's actually this one church I went to in DC. Yeah, Darryl was there too, and it was like, you can't really join the church, like be like a member of the church without like doing some sort of like community something. Like, you have to be some sort of like, you have to do some sort of like giving back, you know, as far as like, you know, volunteering and stuff like that. That's cool. You know, there's the other church I went to when my brother graduated from Howard, you know, and they owned like a lot of the properties in DC, which is getting gentrified. But like, nah, we own this, and it's a black church. Like, you know, we're buying our properties, because if we don't, who else will? So, you know, I think, you know, it all depends. But like, stuff where like we got the building fund, and you talk about building this building for like the past 20 years, and you ain't seen shit yet. It's just giving you like, it's just basically teaching you to like invest, like to plant your seeds in like soil that's not fertile. Like, you know what I'm saying? To just keep. And kids keep
giving.
Yep.
And not expect anything back. Like you are of value, and what you have is a value, whether it's your energy, your money, your time, whatever it is, you should get a return on that. And I'm not talking about from Jesus. I'm talking about to the person you giving the money to the organization you were giving the money to. How are they actually reinvesting that into you? Like, you're giving to them and saying that Jesus is going to give to you. Does that even, like, come on, man, what? So I got to give my money to a man, and that means that Jesus is going to bless me. Like, that sounds like some sucker shit if I ever heard. We like, I'm going to go knock on your door. You give me $10, you're going to be blessed. But I'm not from the church. Just a random person on the street came up to you and said that. He's like, if you don't get out of my damn face and fast, like, come on, like, seriously, like, it's just, and they have so much power, though. The church has so much power. They could do so much. I actually started my nonprofit to prove that the church could do way more than they're doing. So it's set up, I'm setting it up kind of like a church. But it's actually to build, the whole purpose is to build community. Like, it's to actually build a community for members to actually live in, educate their children in, grow up in, be safe in. Like, your church is not even protecting you from police brutality. Like, hello? You know what I mean? Like, your church can't do nothing for you but take your money and say they praying for you. That's all your church can do for you. Like,
so basically rob you and help you look for your shit that they stole from you?
Yeah, that's it right there. And then keep you under control for the politicians, because we like, hey, we need y'all to go and tell them to calm down and let's not riot and vote this way and vote that way. And if you read, like, what is it? A Case for Reparations? I forget his name, but you can look it up. But they talk about how, like, every program that was bad, or they was taking advantage of, like, a loan program for houses or anything, they always go through the church to get to the people. So, like, even if it doesn't matter if the pastor knows it, that it's really a bad situation or it's a bad deal or not, they always go through the church to get to the people. Like, so the negative just seems to outweigh the positive so much. And especially when the spirituality that people get from church, they could get it without the church. Mm-hmm. Like, that good feeling that you get or all that, you could get that without the church. Like, you don't need to actually have the church to get that. Like, you can get that spiritually in so many different ways. Like, I get spiritually filled going to open mics and listening to people who share their story.
Amen.
And be creative. Like, that feeds me. You know what I mean? Or sing their song or play their guitar, whatever it is they do, that feeds me spiritually in the same way, to me even better, because I can actually relate to the people who are actually right here. It's not something third person that told me that this story happened in the Bible and this person did this.
Yep.
Like, take away the spiritual part that people get from going to church and just look at it as an organization and ask yourself, would you really still be a part of that organization?
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, if you really think about it, like, it is kind of like run like a corporation. Like, you got to go through the chain of command. You got to go through, Jesus is like God's HR person. And, like, you got to go through them in order to, you know, do whatever. It's like, so if I'm made in your image, I'm not good enough to talk to you? You really about you? So,
nope.
So God went to go get cigarettes and never came back, but Jesus is here to kind of relay the message. That's how we doing it. So, you know, it's there's always been that, you know. I really, if I bring up white Jesus, we're gonna be here all night.
Oh, boy.
I really don't want to go there.
I love how there's this image of white Jesus, but the description is he's not white. Like, that's the disconnect. Like, the description of Jesus in the Bible in no way supports him being white. The location where he was in no way supports him being white. But the brainwashing is so great,
yeah, that
black people still worship white Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah, I even
like,
said
I expect white people to worship white Jesus. They white.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't want, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna change his color too. Like, we make him look a little bit more like me.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
it just doesn't make any
sense. To be
sense.
brainwashed to do that, like, it's crazy. Like, it's brainwashing. Like, that's what it is. Like, church is brainwashing you to worship something outside of yourself and to believe a secondhand story. Like, listen, I didn't see Jesus walk on water, so I can't believe he walked on water. I don't even know him.
It's just
like, what if somebody came up to you and was like, "Hey, man, dude around the corner was walking on water yesterday."
I'm like, that's an ice skater? Like, what?
Like, you didn't get no video? You didn't Instagram it, go live or nothing? I just got to take your word for it. And I got to take the word for over 2,000 years ago of passed down of hearsay. And if I don't believe this hearsay, I'm going to hell. I guess I'd be in hell, man, because I can't live my life on hearsay. Like, and I can't tell my son to live his life on hearsay. Like, if you didn't see it, it might not have happened. We can't prove. You know, at the end of the day, if you didn't see it, then it might not have happened. But I can teach you to be loving. I can teach you to be kind. I can teach you, you know what I mean? I can teach you those values.
Yeah, you know, like, it's not like all bad. It's just, you know, I mean, The text is like basically. I said this on Twitter. I was like, basically, like the way that the Bible's been whitewashed is kind of like how when you watch Baby Boy and BET, like, and it just changed like pretty much. It's a totally different movie, like than what it really
is.
It's the same thing. It's been whitewashed. It's been all these things have happened, and it's just like.
Basically, like what R. Kelly said, just use your common sense.
Yeah.
That's it. Just use your common sense. That's it.
Is this anointing on me?
Just use your common sense. What you think about it is just like, okay. Like, Jesus ain't have a tan or nothing. Like, this pure white person living in the Middle East. He have a tan or nothing. Just, okay. All right.
He just blended in, and he just blended in Africa. He just blended right in. Like, we're going to go hide him with the blacks. But he's white.
Oh,
like,
man.
come on. I had my my mentor one time, he was talking to his father who was really, really, really religious, and he was like, so if the Bible says, he had hair of wool and, feet of brass and and you got this white Jesus, you got this white man up here, ain't you kind of worshiping the Antichrist? He was like, my daddy put me out there.
You gotta love it, man. The brainwashing of America continues. Churches, school system, everywhere.
Like cognitive, and that's like one of the biggest things with cognitive dissonance and how like powerful it is, because if you say these things that contradict these things that you were taught and indoctrinated in, like that your grandma believed, your grandma believed, and all this other stuff, like it's almost like they short circuit. I think really that's what cognitive dissonance
it does.
is.
It's literally like they just like blank out and they just try to get rid of it, like sweeping under the rug, like.
Yeah,
or their brain is gonna explode, like.
Okay, because you're forced to look yourself in the mirror and be like, "Damn, I was lied to my whole entire life," and people just don't want to do that.
Yeah,
and they've made it so much their identity, like that's their identity. You know what I mean? Like, so when you point these things out about the inconsistencies of Christianity or the history, just the history. Like, most black Christians don't even know the history of Christianity, the history of the Bible, the things that happened to get it where it is today. When you point those things out, it's like you're attacking them personally. I didn't say nothing about you personally. I just said there was a council of white men that decided what was going to be in the Bible. And now that's the Bible you follow. Like, that's all I said. I didn't attack you personally, but you feel personally attacked because you have made that your identity. Like, that is you. You have become one with Christianity. Like,
yep. I was really thinking about trolling. I think I might do it on Easter.
Oh,
like, I was going to say, so are you black first or Christian first? I really want to go there, but I don't know,
that'll
man.
be interesting. That'll be interesting.
Oh, man.
Probably Christian first. That's what they're going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be...
I mean, because they're not going. It's not going. They're not letting that go. Like, they done tried to put blackface all over it. I mean, like, even if you say everybody in the Bible, which, I mean, the stories would be of black people, the institution of it and how it is used has been a white power, white supremacy structure. Like, they used it to gain power, to literally take over the world. Like, I try to point out the doctrine of discovery, where the Pope literally said, go spread Christianity or kill them. Like, that was literally gave them permission. That is manifest destiny. God gave them the permission to kill everybody or convert them to Christianity. Like, and they teach that in bringing school and that together. They teach that, and they still teach manifest destiny in school like it's a good thing. Like, y'all know manifest destiny was like, we can kill all the natives in America because God gave us the right. Like, and y'all teach that in school. Like,
The cycle
come
continues.
on now.
I killed his ass in Jesus' name.
The cycle continues because your parents taking their kids to church every Sunday. Easter's coming
Every
up.
Sunday.
Easter's coming up, matter of fact.
Easter is coming up.
People going to be, you're going to see the pictures on IG and Facebook and all that.
They're going to be fly.
Yep. The cycle continues.
Fly,
They ain't going to stop. That's the sad part.
And the thing is, like, you know, it's one thing to, like, you know, be totally brainwashed. And it's another thing to just be like, but you're still, you know, I guess, you know, giving into your carnal desires and stuff like that. There's certain people in positions of power, you know, within the church that, you know, are taking liberties, you know, as far as, you know, touching cheeks that don't belong to them, you know, and other things like that, you know.
Man.
Or, you
Lord,
know.
I can't.
I mean, there's been several times I've done seen girls, you know, in the club and then seen them in the church the next day with the same outfit on. I'm like, look, I ain't see you, you ain't see me, all right?
With the same outfit on. They be having the same outfit?
Look, there was one time, you know, I was teaching Sunday school and I had left straight from the club to teach that. Like I didn't go in. I just went straight from the club to teach Sunday school. Just being real, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, but it's
you change your clothes in the car or something. Not the same outfit. You can't do that.
That happened to me. That happened to me my freshman year of college. Like, I was sneaking back because I played basketball, so I was sneaking back in the dorm. But my room was like past all my teammates' rooms. So I'm sneaking back in the dorm, and they was like, and I had the same clothes on I had on. It wasn't clubbing clothes. It was like a later gathering. So I was like, okay.
I remember
sneaking back to the room. They come out. They was like, "Oh, you went to church?"
I remember.
And I was like, and then they looked and they was like, "Hold on, wait, you had that on yesterday." And they was like, "We on our way to church, so you coming with us?" Like,
damn.
Like they was trying to save my soul. I was like, I can't go nowhere, but everybody gonna see I had this on yesterday at the cookout, y'all. Like,
I remember having too much fun doing stuff I'm not supposed to be doing the night before and going to church the next day. And I'm sitting there sweating. I'm like, I ain't about shit. I'm just like, damn, I'm a piece of shit.
And then also we have to, like, you know, we definitely have to talk about, you know, the foul things that have happened at church. You know, I mean, a lot of shit. My first girl I knocked down,
oh boy,
I met at church. You know what I'm saying?
Look, my son's father talks about, he grew up in Florida, and he talks about going to church with like his auntie and them, and then leaving that church. You know, it'd be a church on every corner. He said we would leave that church and walk down the street because they had all the hoes. I was like, wait, what?
Damn.
Nah, that's real.
Wait, what? Like,
in the church?
Like, he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah. He used to go down after church. Like, clearly, y'all, they are not getting the lessons that they not picking up what y'all putting down.
Yeah.
If like, people, the teenagers, you know what I mean, 13, 14, 15, 16, they're going to church to scope out who they about to go hang out with after church.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
they not getting it.
Yeah.
Like, that would be another thing. If Christians were actually, I don't want to say good people. What is the word I'm looking for?
I guess, like,
if Christians were actually if Christians were actually being like Jesus in the stories, how about that? There we go. If Christians were actually being like Jesus or striving to be like Jesus, it might not be as bad. But about 3 or 4 years, we was like in the church real strong, and I never heard so much gossip, so many affairs, just the craziest things in the church. And these are the people that do all of the ministries and run all the stuff and be up there all the time. And sister so and so is sleeping with sister so and so's husband, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, this is my 12-year-old mind is like, hold on. But the Bible has said, like, I'm in here trying to be literal about what the Bible has said, and y'all, like, that is not what is going on. Like, So even if it produced better results, like, they might have an argument. But like you said, you got the pastors touching on the girls, the boys, everybody in between. Like, you got the kids are sexually like, just, I'm not seeing no results. Like, not to the extent of the harm, as far as I feel like it does a lot of spiritual harm in confining them. So, I don't know. Like, I say off with his head. Like, just get rid of it. Like, see what happens. Let's just see what happens.
Nah, I hear you. What do you think now with, a lot of people letting tablets raise their children? Just to shift gears a little bit.
Say it again.
As far as, like, people having tablets raise their children?
Oh, Lord, have mercy. Well, first, it depends on what's on the tablet. That's the first thing, because in the last year or so, my son's YouTube watching has increased way more than I'm comfortable with. But I'm with him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm present as he's watching, so, like, when something comes on, I'm like, he'll close it out and go find something else.
Right.
So that's the first thing. So even if your child's going to be on the tablet or whatever, at least be cognizant of what they're watching. Like, at least be there, or be within an earshot, or go check every now and then to see what's actually going on. But then, if you're not, like, if your child is being raised by a tablet and you're not actually creating and cultivating a relationship with them, but then you expect them to listen to you and to do all of these things that, we think that children should, do for them. Like, you should listen to me and you should believe me and you should help me around the house. They don't even have a relationship with you.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know what I mean? Like, they just go and play video games or just look at their tablets the whole time and watch videos. They probably couldn't tell you the last time y'all sat down and played a game together or had a real conversation or anything like that. Like, so...
You don't know me, Mom.
Then you wonder why the disconnect is obvious. You know what I mean? Like...
Definitely is. I mean, you don't
I'd be offended.
Yeah.
Be offended if my son see me and he'd be like, go straight to you don't want to play with me? Like...
Yeah.
I'm unplug the computer. So you gonna play with me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's my style. Like, computer broke. Now what? We gonna roll this ball? We gonna play catch? Something like, let's interact and let's build relationships. Like, but that's people. That's like when people go out to eat. Everybody at the table on their phone. Like, we're supposed to be here having a whole experience. So I mean, tablets raising kids and phones raising adults. Like,
yeah, I'm not gonna say this is a period of time where, like, I was the most honorable and decent human being, but I have noticed that, back in the day, a couple of years ago, when I would go out with, a girl or something like that, and I'd not have my phone on me, they would be like, blown away. And like, oh, you're not gonna be on your phone? I'm like, nah, I'm here with you. What you mean? Little did she know. But the point is that, we need to be present. And, it's definitely something that's out of the norm. And, I'm kind of curious to see how this whole era of technology is gonna, like how these kids are gonna turn out.
It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse.
I don't know. Like, that's the other thing though. It's like there's so much drama around it. Like, the little kids like watching videos and playing games. Okay, that's one thing. But then when your kids get old enough to get like social media, and hell, they're old enough right now, and it's like 8, 9 apparently for little kids to have social media. But
Shit.
like, then when they get to like that point, like, that's when it gets like really, 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 really bad. Because as a school counselor, I would say most, maybe 10% of our fights actually what is the word I'm trying
originated?
to say? There we go. At school. Most of that stuff came from social media outside of school. Them talking all night, group chatting, and then they come to school and they want to fight, and we like, we ain't even had breakfast yet. How y'all got beef already? Like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, so then, I mean, I think that's the even worse aspect of it, other than just we watching 5 billion YouTube videos, or, you know what I mean? Or are we just sitting up here playing video games and not actually interacting with humans? And then they wonder why people don't value human life, because they don't even interact with humans. You know what I mean? Like, they rather watch people on a screen than watch real people. So what is a human life? You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
And then I'm watching them getting shot and beat up and all kind of stuff online anyway. Like, it's just like, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's gonna be bad.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna. There's always gonna be like two specs. There's gonna be two ends of it, because you have the children that are using it to go and find information too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have questions. They're going and watching. They know more about the history of Christianity than their parents that drags them to church every Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, you have those kids too. So I don't want to skip over them, because I've ran into a couple of them when I was so kind of like, they would throw out some information. I'm like, what you been Googling?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? They be like, or they might be into crystals, you know what I mean? Like, or just something. So there's always two ends of the spectrum. So there's the good part too, but it's mostly bad.
Yeah. Or, well, nah, it is mostly bad, but I was going to say, like, the bad always gets the most press. All right, I got to talk about this, even though it's like, oh, God. So, I think his name is Desmond.
Oh, boy.
I think that's what his name is. You know what I'm talking about?
Say more.
This is I guess he's like the poster child for trans kids or whatever.
Oh, I heard about him.
Yeah, I think he's like 10 or something.
Listen, I like this whole trans thing. This hits close to home for me, because until I started my cycle, you could not tell me that I was not a boy. Like, boys' clothing, I hung out with the boys. Recess, even on Easter, my mama couldn't get me in a dress going to church. Like, it was like, I mean, I knew I wasn't a boy, but like, as far as, no. Like, I didn't have no girl, like, no. Like, that's not how I wrote. Mm-mm. My mom, like, that was heartbreaking for me when I found, like, dang, I'm really a girl. This is real. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't, like, change right away or whatever, but, like, once those hormones start pumping and you start to feel more like whatever it is that nature made you to be. You know what I mean? Like, so to tell me that a child that has not even reached puberty yet is trans anything is pure ridiculousness to me. That is just pure crazy. Up until puberty, girls and boys are mostly the same. Up until they hit puberty, like, as far as strength, as far as voice, as far as they're literally the same, except for what society tells them they can and can't do. Like, we just say that girls do this and boys do this, and but physically, like, like they're truly the same. They're not even experiencing the world through a sexual lens. Like, they're not even developed sexually to experience the world through a sexual lens. So to try to tell me that a child that hasn't hit puberty is trans something, I'm on the fact that that's borderline child abuse. Like, that's borderline. That is irresponsible of a parent. Like, do what you want to do. And then when things really get moving, you get all your hormones and you get all that. So we hit puberty and things still don't feel right. Talk to me then. But up until then, it's I feel like it's literally insanity. It's literally insanity. And then y'all were parading around a little boy dressed as a little girl, and like, it's just so great. Like,
taking pictures naked with grown ass men and all kinds of other stuff.
They're supposed to be coming out, or maybe it's out already, where when your baby gets born, like you could have the gender as X instead of like male or female. You could just make it gender X. That. Yeah, that's supposed to be happening. So it's going to get worse. Sad to say, it's going to get worse.
It's going to get ridiculous. It is already ridiculous. Like, I find it like laughable. Like, I truly, and I think I actually tweeted this probably like a week or so ago. I said, as a child, looking back, like, I am so glad I was not born right now, because I would have been convinced that I was transgender when I was young.
Yeah.
Because I truly was like, I'm a boy. I wanted to be a boy. There was nothing more in life that I wanted to be than a little boy.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was born today and I felt that way, I would have jumped on the transgender. I would have jumped on the transgender train without a doubt.
Yeah.
Like, no, and especially if my parents entertained it too. Like, if my parent was entertaining it and you see it everywhere, I would have changed my name. Like, would have been like Andre or something. You know what I mean? Like, it would just like, and so for me to have that experience and then to hit puberty and go through those changes and still pretty much kind of really still be what they say, a tomboy. Pretty much still be a tomboy, but just come into like my womanhood, you know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
and have a son, you know what I mean? And like do these things. Like, I guess I wouldn't have this experience, but I get angry thinking about it. Like, what if I would have been born now and was convinced that I was a boy and I could be a man and then live my life that way?
Yeah, I think it's
and
just
give
like,
up everything that was natural, like everything that God gave me. I'm trying to change it and give it up to be something I am not.
Yep.
Like,
and I think it's really what they're doing is they're just trying to like, exploit what's pretty much like a phase. It's just another phase of self-discovery, just a little bit more, I guess, perverse, because with all this information now, it's hard to hide things from kids now. It's hard to have like a sheltered child unless you're Amish or something like that. Like, you have to they're gonna get that information somehow. So like when they see this stuff, it's just like, oh, this is kid, he's getting all this attention, which is like gold to like children and
exactly,
and Instagram models. But it's just like like they're just like, oh my goodness, this kid's getting all this attention. He's like a hero, blah blah blah. Like, I want to be like that. Like, so it's just that whole thing. Just the whole concept of just even trying to be popular. Really, I think goes back to us quote unquote being made in the image of God and just trying to like reach some sort of level of godliness within ourselves. So
yeah.
Just with that, and again, like, I'm just thinking about like me, like when I was in high school, the phase was, the trans thing to do was, to be hood, to be, to be tough and this, that, and the third. Like, the worst thing that you could be as a 16, 17-year-old was, was pussy. That was it. Like, like you could, you know what I'm saying? You could be a terrible person, You could be a thief. You could do this. You could do that.
Horrible, man.
I could fight, though. You know what I'm saying? That was it. So, like, it's just crazy how far we've fallen from the light.
Yeah, just everything. But, and people don't like to talk about it because they feel like you're trying to say, like, they aren't really gay or they aren't really whatever. But like, then if you look at the science behind things that could possibly be making, especially males, feel like females or feel more feminine, like there's literally hormones in the food, like the plastics, like there's actually reason. Like there are some like scientific reasons behind why males might feel more feminine. Like
yeah, I hear about
legit. You know what I mean? And soy, like there's literally scientific reasons behind it. And that's not to take away anything from anybody identifying or being what they are, but like I'm not going to ignore science because it hurts your feelings. If you're secure in what you are and all that, well then be secure in here, and you will be able to still look at the fact and be like, yeah, you know, that's real.
Yeah,
that don't stop you from being you. But like I don't have to ignore the truth or science because your feelings are hurt and it makes you insecure about who you are.
I hear things about
I'm with you.
I hear things about what's that word? Vaccinations, vaccines, and flu shots and all that stuff. I could be tied into that also. So, I mean, I don't know if there's a way you could prove it, but I hear stuff about that also. So,
yeah, it's there. I mean, there's so much in it. Then, if you want to talk about the psychology behind, well, the psychology behind a strong black man is a threat. So, survival says maybe I should be a little more feminine. You know what I mean? Just instinct says maybe I really shouldn't be that masculine because that's automatically seen as a threat. Like, then you think about in slavery how the mothers made their sons play down their masculinity, made them try to be smaller and all these things to protect them so they wouldn't become a target. So then you have that. Then you have the boys growing up in homes without a father figure, without a male figure, and developing more feminine ways. And then when you go out in the world, people are like, "Oh, you gay because you have these feminine mannerisms that you're just copying from the person you spend most of your time with." You know what I mean? Like, and it might not even have nothing to do with your sexuality. That's just who you around. But now, since the world keeps telling me I must be gay and making fun of me for it, you start to think maybe I am gay. You know what I mean? Like, you start to take on that identity that everybody is forcing on you. So there's so many other things that are playing into it that people don't want to acknowledge. Like, there's so many factors that play in it, and you can acknowledge it and still choose to be gay. I guess they don't like that word choose, huh?
Yeah, it's funny because like I was in the city yesterday and I was basically stuck there for a little bit, so I was like, you know what? Let me just watch a movie until like I can do what I need to do. So the only movie I was playing was that the Bohemian Rhapsody joint or whatever, which is about, you know, the band Queen or whatever. And you know, as most people know, Freddie Mercury is, you know, a very, very gay man. And, you know, he's very flamboyant and stuff like that. But it started off like him having a girl. And even to like the end of the movie, he was in love with that girl. And it's almost like when she left him, you know, or, you know, when they kind of separated apart, he was, you know, it's almost like when a guy has like a girl back home, but then he goes and like he deals with a bunch of hoes and stuff like that, but it's not fulfilling. And it's still the same thing. And even though, you know, he had, you know, mostly men bodies as far as like his body count goes, you know, and he ended up catching, you know, the artist formerly known as Grids, you know, it was, I'm not editing that out either, but he still loved that girl. Like I could, at least the way that like they framed it, like he was still very much in love with that girl. You know, like he wanted it to work out, but it was like one of those next lifetime shits. But like but he didn't find fulfillment in, you know, doing the other stuff. So I mean, I don't know. It's just it's different stuff. I'm not even sure, you know, how to when it comes to that, like, you know, having that talk, I mean, the talk I got was, when I was about to go to college, and it was just like, yeah, there's a lot of down low brothers out there in college, so be careful. I'm like, down low what? What do you mean? Like,
what do you mean?
like, because I mean,
and
like,
then from my end, I play women's basketball, so like, that's hand in hand with like lesbian. You know what I mean? Like, you can't spell WNBA without lesbian. Like, so, and it's. And I don't. This is me again speaking from my experience. So like a lot of times, like I honestly feel like a lot of it is a socialization thing. Like, so you have girls that were good at sports that might have been a little more masculine in their presentation that were never really accepted or looked at by the boys or identified more with boys, so they started looking at the girls. You know what I mean? Like, my best friend, I married her and her wife. Like, I got my officiating license and I married them. Like, gave a whole speech about it. Like, it was like parents weren't coming, kind of like it was one of those things. Like, people weren't coming. Like, her dad's a deacon. Like, it got real, and I went and got it, and I don't even believe in marriage at all, like gay, straight, or otherwise. Not a marriage license with somebody. The state gives you permission to get married, but like, I can't. What I said was like, I can't deny that these two people together have made each other better. So if you find that in somebody, and y'all want to also have sex, that's your business. You know what I mean? Like, that's your business, but we still have to actually look at me and my tongue. We have to look at the socialization behind that and how society is cultivating this, because it's growing. You know what I mean? Like, it's growing. We're gonna say like back 100 years, like just it was the same number, but everybody was in the closet. No, I'm not buying that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not buying that. So we do have to look at the trends in society to say that it's growing and why. And maybe, there were probably a lot of people in the closet, but there's also other reasons for it. Like, but it doesn't have to, like, why is it so offensive? That's what my thing is. Like, why is it so offensive to point out that there might be other causes of it, or there might be a socialization thing about it, or, you know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm kind of confused. Like,
yeah, I mean, it may be like kind of like a similar thing as far as like, someone, being raised in a certain, religion, and, you bringing up things that contradict that. I mean, it's just kind of like that cognitive dissonance. So, I mean, as far as, raising children and, them being bombarded with this stuff. Because, I mean, I know, like, me, when I was in high school, there was that one gay kid in the school for the most part. It was like that one guy, he was just, like, out. He was just super out. Or maybe that might have been that one person in the choir. He's like, yeah, he's gay. He just don't know it yet. Like, mad talented, but he just, But, like, how do you... I'm not even gonna say how do you, like, I don't know, like, is that like a talk that needs to be had, like the gay talk, to see how, like, just like how you have the sex talk, like, is it that, or I don't know. I think one of the jobs of a parent is to protect the innocence of your child for as long as you can. And to me, children are not sexual beings. So until they actually develop puberty, like but then we got to talk about, like, well, they're getting exposed to sex so early that they're not even able to really have sex, but at 8 and 9, they're feeling on each other's booties and trying to do little stuff in elementary school because they've seen it all over TV. But, like, so my thing is, I'm going to
kind of shield my son from any type of explicit sexual anything until he's actually biologically a sexual being. So that's gay and straight. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's one way that it kind of made, like, evens the score. You know what I mean? Like, to say, like, I'm not just being, like, anti-gay or whatever, or pro-straight. I don't know what the language is. It changes, like, every week on Twitter. But, like, you know what I mean? So that's my thing is I want to protect them sexually for, you know, just the innocence of that for a really long time. But then when puberty hits, like, I guess you do have to kind of have that conversation because, like, they're clearly, if they're especially going to public schools and they're just out here in the world, there are going to be some boys their age that are already sure that they're gay that might try them. You know what I mean? That might be attracted to them. So you do have to have, I think you do have to have that conversation, but I don't know what that conversation looks like. Like,
yeah, that's
do
definitely...
you endorse, you know what I mean? Like, do you, I guess it depends on your stance. Do you be like, you know, love who you love and like who you like? Is that your stance on it? Or, like, are you like, hey, no? Like, you know, I don't, as a parent, that is your choice, and you know that's a tough one. Like, my son's 4. He don't go to school. I plan on homeschooling and doing like homeschool co-ops, which I mean I guess there could be a little transgender, nondescript child in there, child X, if we will.
Oh shit.
But I don't know. Like my son, he's very into like girl boy. He always has been. And like, so he'll be in the store and he'll be like, "Mommy, what's that?" And what do you say? Like, what do you say? You know what I mean? Like, it's a girl, it's a boy. I don't know. Like, that's a tough one. I don't know. That's you gotta just wing it, I guess. I don't.
No, I'm saying, like,
he said, "Mommy, what's that?" Well, what's what? We be pointing at when you say that.
Like, it might be transgender, or it just might be a man that looks feminine, or a woman that looks a little more masculine, or you know, stuff you see at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like, mommy, what's that? Like, 'cause he, like I said, he's into identifying. Mommy, that's a girl, that's a boy, that's a, you know what I mean? He's just into labeling and identifying stuff, which is age appropriate. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're supposed to do. This age is learn your world and identify things and figure stuff out. So then when it's like, "Mommy, what's that?" And I'm like, I hope they didn't hear you first.
yeah, that's a tough conversation to have.
Yeah, that's a very tough conversation to have. And me, I'm all about the truth. If nothing else, I can say I told the truth. It might have hurt some feelings. It might have seemed insensitive, but at least I know I told the truth. Yeah, so I'd be like, you know, so I'm like, that's a man. He just has on a dress.
Kids his days.
And I'll just say that. And you can be mad if you want to. Like, sir, were you born with a penis? And do you have on a dress?
Kids his age have questions for days, so that you really gotta prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I gotta lie to my child because you got identity issues. Like, all I can do is tell the truth. Like, I'm not gonna say that's a woman because then he gonna think you like me and you not.
That's like, another thing right there. That it's a brief tangent, but I have to bring this up because I don't think I talked about this on air, but the whole concept of like being able to, you know, just, you know, cut off your meat, you know, put on the skirt and, you know, be considered equal to a woman that's, you know, lived her whole life as a girl, you know, went through, you know, her first cycle, you know, grew breasts, all of that whole thing. Miss me with all that bullshit.
Miss me with all that shit. You are not a woman like me. You can identify as a woman all you want. Just like when I hit puberty, I could no longer identify as a boy. I'm going to need you to own that shit too. Like, I'm going to need you to own that you are not a woman you want to be as close as possibly can to a woman, that is fine. But you are not a woman like me.
Yeah, and like if you think about it, if you flip it, like as far as the because I think the first transport I ever saw in like real life was this person I was working with actually, and it was actually it was a person that was born a woman that turned into a man, and I didn't know initially. It was just like he just seemed a little weird, you know, like he was struggling with something, but like you know whatever. But and he was overweight, so like I'm like all right, so he had titties. That's when you're fat, you have titties. That's kind of how it goes. Nah, those are real titties. So, but the point is like you don't see a lot of that. You know, them saying like, oh, we're real, like trans men are real men. You don't really see that like that. And it's just funny how that works because, you know, I mean, there's some males that aren't considered real men per se, you know, and it just kind of shows you, you know, the P word that people like to throw around, like how, you know, how it is, like how, you know, society values men and how society values women. And, you know, it's just...
Yeah, you can easily be a woman. Like, all I gotta do is cut off my penis and put on a dress, and now, you know, I'm on the equal playing field. I was like, you know how this, like, they were talking about, I was like, Caitlyn, is it Caitlyn Jenner? Yeah. So Bruce goes through surgery, becomes Caitlyn, and becomes the woman of the year. Like, if that ain't the most, how can someone be that's born a man be the woman of the year and women not feel completely disrespected? Like, what? That's like the Rachel Dolezal being like the black person of the year. Like, winning the BET Award. And women are like cheering, like, yeah, like what? Like this man, like, so a man is the best woman. Like, if that's not patriarchy, I don't know what is. That a man can be a better woman than a woman.
Yep.
Like.
Yeah, and I think also, like, you know, you're invading women's spaces, you know, stuff that was set aside for them to, you know, thrive in their own femininity and stuff like that. And it's just like, and again, like, I was very against, like, the P word, you know, as far as, like, you know, like, I didn't think it was that bad in certain aspects, but this is just, like, it's real blatant. And so I think definitely, you know, when it comes to raising children, just to kind of bring it all tied all together, you know, as far as, like, the difference between, you know, men and women, boys and girls, trying to, you know, show them that one is not necessarily better than the other and that they both work together to help make society a wonderful or a terrible place.
Man, and that's it. Like, when I was in Target and I was searching for my son something, and I picked up this little skirt. It was like a tutu. I'm like, what is this thing in the middle of the boy? Like, just in the middle of the boy thing. And on a tag it said, defying gender norms, something, don't let society limit, something like that. And I was like, this right here is encouraging cross-dressing. I was like, because if we were really going to defy gender norms we would just not have a girls and boys section, just have a children's section and just let it all be in there. And you can pick whatever you want to wear because there is no boys and girls section. But y'all are intentionally putting skirts in what is called the boys section. Just get rid of the split and just have children's clothing. And then we don't have to say that boys can wear skirts or girls can do this or girls can do that. It's all there. Pick what you want. You know what I mean? Like, instead of saying, because if you got a little boy, he's walking through and he's seeing all this stuff, that one tutu sitting there is going to stick out to him because it stuck out to me. It's going to catch his eye.
Yeah, it's just out of place.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be like, oh, like my son, mommy, what's this? You know what I mean? Like, now he want to put it up, like he going to put it on. Like, but why not just get rid of girls and boys section if we want to say that they're equal or there is no gender or whatever? Like, well, then stop making a difference between them. You know what I mean? Like, that's my thing. I don't think gender is real. Like, sex is real. Your biological sex is real. gender, I don't even know what is that. It changes from century to century. Women didn't used to work until war and they had to go to work. Now it's women can't stay at home. You know what I mean? Like, so it's so gender changes according to what society needs. We don't need gender. Like, we don't even need it. It just causes confusion. How about we just stick to what's your biological sex? I don't care. You can put on the dress. You know what I mean? Put on a dress. I don't care. Like, wear heels. I don't care. Like, just do whatever. Nobody cares. But it's like when you try to sex and gender, like they're two, like gender is literally nothing. Like, it's something that you made up. Women do this and men do that. Like.
Yep. I still say the only gender fluid I acknowledge comes from the skin gland. But we're about to wrap this up. So where do if someone wants to support you or anything like that, where can they find you?
My website is www.ajayadivine.com. So we can get my book on the website. I'm Ajaya Divine on every platform. Facebook. I don't really use Snapchat, but Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm Ajaya Divine at Ajaya Divine on all of that. And my nonprofits, For the Culture Ministries. I just started my youth group. We just finished martial arts. So I have a newsletter. You can subscribe to our newsletter. It's a spiritual letter that just trying to raise everybody's vibrations. So get that to your email every month. And got my second book. I'm working on my second book. Should be done by the end of this month. So just follow me, and you'll get it all.
And Ajaya is Ajaya.
Y.
And Divine. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, your page is up here. He's cheating. He ain't just know how to spell your name.
Nah, I was basically what I was trying to do. You edit this part, but basically what I was trying to do was spelling it out for the people without telling you to spell it out for the people. That's what I was trying to do.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. I spell it out. I was
trying to be slick with it. I was trying to be slick with it.
I was going to, but I was like, so Ajaya Divine, AJAYADIVINE, AjayaDivine.com and at Ajaya Divine on all platforms.
Yes, I definitely appreciate you taking out the time and just dropping so much knowledge and just having a conversation. So
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, we're trying to get more women on this platform, so we appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, you have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right, take care.
Peace.